Ladies and gentlemen, we have got to talk about Justice Society World War II, the latest DC animated movie, which actually released, I think maybe a month ago, but I finally got around to watching it, and I loved it. I absolutely loved this movie. It was so good, way better than I was expecting, because I was excited for it, but I wasn't that excited for it, but now, after watching it, I'm so excited to talk about it, because there was some crazy stuff going on in this movie. And I've always loved the JSA, the Justice Society of America. I've always loved that group of heroes with just like the classic Golden Age heroes like Jay Garrick, the Flash, like Hourman, Hawkman, Black Canary, Dr. Fate. So I love seeing those characters in action here in this movie, with of course also Wonder Woman leading them as well. And then you got all the other additions thrown in here, like Matt Bomer's Barry Allen Flash traveling back in time to help out the JSA. It was just really cool, and probably the best part about this movie was just that there were so many twists and turns. There were so many twists and turns that I did not see coming, because it's like you go into this thinking it's one thing, and then it turns out to be something completely different. And there's cameos, and there's also set up for this world that we are now building with this new rebooted DC animated universe that of course started with Superman Man of Tomorrow and now continues here. And it was just so cool to see. And I just loved all the elements of it, because it wasn't a full-on true JSA movie. And that's really my only complaint about it, is that, it was marketed as a Justice Society of America movie, but wasn't really fully about that. They were actually kind of on the back burner, and Barry Allen's Flash was more so the main character. But I'm at the same time not complaining, because I still love the movie so much, and it would have been nice to have just a plain old JSA movie, but the way they did this movie was just so good. I absolutely loved it. But if you've not seen it yet, you really need to check it out, because again, it is a great movie. But also, if you haven't seen it yet, you're probably going to want to go away now, because we are about to start talking about spoilers for this film, because like I said, there was so many crazy things in this movie that I just want to talk about, especially when it comes to the things this film set up for the future of this DC animated universe. So, hopefully, if you're still here, you've seen the movie, you know everything that went down, and we have got to talk about this and really break this down in depth, because there's just some crazy stuff going on here. So first of all, I love how the movie started off, where you had Barry and Iris, and Iris wasn't in the movie much. It was just at the beginning and at the end, but still, seeing that little bit of their relationship was great. I really like Matt Bomer in the role of the Flash. I feel like he was really great at playing the character with like all the quips and jokes as well. So that was pretty cool. But then straight into it with Superman showing up, which was something we did not know going into this movie. But yeah, Superman is fighting Brainiac, which also explains why Brainiac was on the side of the Blu-ray for Superman Man of Tomorrow, because he's in this DC animated universe. So for just this beginning part was just so awesome, and honestly one of my favorite parts of the film, where you just had Superman and the Flash teaming up to take on Brainiac. It was just so cool. But this battle is of course what actually sends the Flash back in time, or so we think. But again, if you saw the film, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the film and for some reason you're still here, I'll talk about it more later. So it's when the Flash starts running super fast, trying to catch the kryptonite bullet, that all of a sudden he starts going back in time, and you see a flash of Dr. Fate, which was another character we did not know was going to be in this movie, which I'm honestly kind of disappointed about, because I got super hyped up and excited when I first saw, like, oh my god, Dr. Fate's in this movie. And then when we actually did see him later, he never put the helmet on, and he really didn't do much. But again, we'll talk about that later. But that was so cool, just seeing that whole sequence of the Flash just traveling through time, but not really actually traveling to an alternate universe. But that was just so cool, because that is one of the things that we first find out there when they get to this Earth and they start talking to Dr. Fate, which again, it was kind of disappointing that he was just kind of like sitting there in the chair and was all shriveled up and stuff. But it was still cool seeing Dr. Fate at all in this movie. But this was where I found out that Barry did not travel back in time to World War II and teamed up with the JSA. No, he actually traveled to an alternate world. So this is something I already love with this new DC animated universe, is because they're introducing the multiverse, which is just awesome, because when it comes to these DC animated movies, they always release ones that take place in this animated universe, but then also like Elseworld stories, like the Batman Soul of the Dragon earlier this year. That was released, but I don't think that takes place in this main universe. So you can just explain it as like, oh, that's just on a different Earth in the multiverse. So I think that's pretty cool there. And another big reveal we get here is that this character of Shakespeare that is working with the JSA and Steve Trevor is actually revealed to be Superman, which is something I did not at all see coming, because I remember when he first showed up and Barry was like, "You look familiar, do I know you?" or like something like that. I was like, alright, so this has got to be some sort of important character. It's going to be an important reveal, but who is this? And I just could not figure out. At first I was like, wait, is that like Hitler in disguise or something? But no, it was Superman. It was Clark Kent. And I can't believe I didn't figure that out just from the voice of Darren Criss, which, by the way, Darren Criss was great as Superman in this movie. But even when that prisoner gave him the Superman suit, I still didn't figure it out, because that was before we actually found out that this was on an alternate Earth. So then I just got super confused there. I was like, wait, how does Superman exist in the past and like all this crazy stuff? It was crazy, but it was so fun because it really was like a mystery of like, who is this guy, and wait, how does that work? And it was just so awesome. I absolutely loved it. But speaking of Superman, another DC superhero we saw in this film was Aquaman, who is another character that is different because it is on an alternate Earth, and he was evil in this film, except he was also actually being mind controlled by, I don't think they ever actually gave this character a name. At first I thought it was Orm, like Aquaman's brother, Orm Ocean Master, but then they said that he was human, so I guess he's not, but I'm pretty sure they never actually gave him a name, but just this creepy bad guy. But it was so cool seeing Aquaman in here and seeing some adventures down in Atlantis, and really makes me want to see a full-on Aquaman animated movie, because we did get the Justice League Throne of Atlantis all those years ago, which was a great movie, but I'd love to see some more Aquaman exploration in animation. But with Aquaman in this movie comes one of the big twists that I was not at all expecting, because when Aquaman attacks the surface, and combining that with the fact that this is like an alternate universe, basically makes this turn into kind of like a Flashpoint movie, because in Flashpoint, that's the whole thing, is that Flash messes stuff up and creates this alternate universe where things are different, and one of the big parts of it is that Aquaman and the Atlanteans invade the surface, and you get this crazy battle between Aquaman and Wonder Woman, or the Atlanteans and the Amazons, which is something you got in this movie. You got an Aquaman versus Wonder Woman battle, which was awesome to see here. So I loved seeing that, because this was basically like a mini kind of secret Flashpoint movie, which was honestly just so awesome. But within this giant battle and war, we did get some deaths, like the death of Hawkman and also Steve Trevor, which Steve, going into this movie, I was automatically like, alright, if anybody dies in this movie, Steve Trevor is most likely going to die, because I mean, that's basically all Steve Trevor does. Both Wonder Woman movies he's been in, he died, but that's basically what the character does. But I did like his character in this movie, and like his relationship with Wonder Woman, like how he kept proposing to her and everything. And Hawkman was really cool here as well. He had an interesting story arc with Black Canary. Definitely a smaller role, but I still enjoyed seeing those characters. And again, it's on an alternate Earth, so it doesn't really bother me that much. If this was on Earth Prime and they killed off a character like Hawkman, I would have been really upset, because then it's like, oh, well, I want to see this character more in the future. So we still can see this character in other DC animated movies, but just not on this Earth. So that's honestly really cool to me. But once the day is saved and the Atlanteans are defeated and everything, this is when the Flash travels back to his Earth, which we assume is the main universe Earth, or Earth Prime, or Earth 1, or something like that. And this is where we get the big setup for the future of this DC animated universe, because earlier in the episode, Dr. Fate was, when Barry was around him, he mentioned something about he has to learn this lesson so that he can, and no, he doesn't need to know about the League yet. And this is because in this movie he learned this lesson, that he needs to team up with these heroes and create this league or club to fight justice, or get justice. And it was so cool seeing that setup, because then when Flash does travel back to his Earth, he and Superman defeat Brainiac, and then he brings up this idea to Superman, like, you know, Brainiac's not going to be the last bad guy out there. There's other heroes out there like this. like us, so maybe we should team up. And he was like, yeah, sure. So basically this means that going forward in these next couple DC animated movies, we're going to be setting up the Justice League of this universe, which I think is awesome, because in the previous DC animated universe, it was just literally the first movie was setting up the Justice League. But this looks like it's going to be a multi-movie arc, which I think is awesome, because now we've got two members on the team. We got the Flash and Superman. And probably Flash will take some inspiration from the JSA he saw on the other Earth, and probably get Wonder Woman of his Earth to join the team. Maybe even Hawkman as well. I think would make sense to be on the team as well. Maybe even Black Canary. But then also another character that's possible is Martian Manhunter, because he teamed up with Superman in the Superman Man of Tomorrow movie. And I don't really know who else. There's obviously the obvious members. Oh, Aquaman as well could be inspired from Barry's time on this alternate Earth. But then other than that, I guess the obvious characters probably like a Green Lantern, a Cyborg, obviously Batman. But I'm really excited for this. I am really excited for this. This got me so excited. There was no post-credit scene for this movie, but I honestly don't care, because we are getting the Justice League, and I love how we're going to be building up the different members of this group in this DC animated universe, and I'm so excited for it. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about Justice Society World War II? What did you think about the whole Justice Society stuff? What did you think about all these twists and turns? What did you think about some of the cameos? And of course, this setup for the Justice League, and what members do you want to see on this team? So guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.